The old bait and switch. How many times do we keep seeing this lately where a well-established franchise with a leading male protagonist gets outshined, gets replaced by a female protagonist because for some reason Hollywood cannot write new roles for women without having to replace old ones. It's such a shame, isn't it, that we don't already have a, female archaeologist with skills, attitude, strength, sass, and beauty. Shame we don't have that, right? All right, let's just go ahead and dive into today's video. I want to thank Spider Jedi on my Discord server for suggesting this topic because I didn't even see it until it was suggested. So thank you, Spider Jedi. So this comes to us from The Sun. And they said the next Indy, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, set to replace Harrison Ford as star of Indiana Jones film. Okay, so Waller-Bridge, 37 years old, is set to be introduced to the hugely successful franchise in the upcoming 5th film in the series as Helena Jones's granddaughter. It's even her age, even all of this, it's just like... This suits Lara Croft, does it not? And I'm not talking about the hijacked, whiny version who they stripped all of her confidence away and changed everything about her and gave her the woke treatment. No, I am talking about the blueprint. I am talking about the original, the one and only Lara Croft. Why do you need this when she exists? All right, let's just continue because I have a lot more I want to add to that. And legendary actor Harrison Ford, 80, may be able to pass on his bullwhip and sense of adventure to Phoebe as filmmakers have shot a series of possible endings, including Indy's death. The veteran may now get the opportunity to hang up his worn-out fedora and retire after a rough time on set, where Ford injured his right arm in a fighting sequence, temporarily shutting the set down. I'm not trying to laugh because it's kind of awful, but it's like, bro, he's 80 years old. You might want to be really careful with stunts. But dude, he's rocking it. Okay. Let's see. Speaking at a Disney event promoting the new addition to the franchise, Ford said, "I'm very proud to say that this film is fantastic, and this is one of the reasons," as he pointed at his co-star Waller-Bridge. Indiana Jones movies are about mystery and adventure, but they're also about heart. And I'm really happy that we have a really human story to tell, as well as a movie that will kick your butts. Director James Mangold has been defending the film on Twitter to refute claims it has received poor test screenings. Okay, Mangold said that there has not been any test screenings and tweeted, "No one will ever replace Indiana Jones, not in any script, not in any cut, never discussed." Okay, then what's this going on? Him passing the torch, I guess, but technically, that's kind of replacing him, don't you think? One source who has seen an early cut of the film told the Mail on Sunday, "There's everything you'd want. Nazis fighting on top of a movie train, a chase sequence through a parade, and Indy using his bullwhip to fight bad guys with guns." However, the source confirmed that the film is being shown to test audiences, adding, "No one knows which ending they will use." Okay, so he says they're not using any test screenings, and other people say they are. What's the real story here? Ford has confirmed it is his last outing as Indy, saying, "This is it. I will not fall down for you again." I mean, that makes sense. He's 80. Actors Toby Jones, Antonio Banderas, and John Rhys-Davies, who plays Indy's close friend Sala in the 3 of the previous 4 movies, were all in the new film. Plot details are being kept strictly under wraps. It will be 15 years since Ford played the booby-trapped, swerving archaeologist, building a movie franchise that has taken nearly $1 billion at the box office. Okay, well, here's the thing with this. It looks like a lot of it is up in the air. It looks like this is obviously not confirmed at any capacity, but from what I'm gathering from this is that in a test screening and in one of the possible endings that it is implied that she will be taking over the franchise, or that the baton will be passed to her. I think this is completely unnecessary. This is one of those kind of trickier subjects to where it's like, hey, if you wanted to continue Indiana Jones, how would you do that? You know what I mean? Because you when you think of Indy, you think of Harrison Ford. Like, it's almost impossible to try to picture anybody else playing the role. But in this case, I think either just let it go for good and let it have like a good send-off. Hopefully this upcoming movie doesn't absolutely wreck everything, but if it's good, then let it just have a good send-off and let it go. Or, you know, you could always just go the recast route and continue Indiana Jones's legacy with a different actor playing his actual role, and however they want to go do that. But reboot or continuation, I don't know how you continue with an 80-year-old, but or continue from another point or whatever in time, I don't know. But all I know is that, you know, I'm hoping that they don't take this route, because we see it all the time. We've been seeing it a ton with Marvel especially, and I just think there's such a better way to do this, and there's such a better way to introduce more female-led roles if that's something that they want to do. There's other opportunities and ways to do this without having to hijack a property that already exists as a male lead, because it's just giving us table scraps. And whenever you're following in the footsteps of a legend, like in this case, Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones, there's no way, and I don't care, like, she might be freaking amazing, but there's just no way. How are you going to follow up to the legendary Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones? How can you even maintain that, let alone make it even better? It's just not going to happen, especially not with the current writers in Hollywood and all of the trash that they're producing. And so this is a way for them to be able to virtue signal and try to shoehorn stuff, but without having to actually be creative, without having to actually come up with new and great ideas. They want to ride on the coattails of something that already has a fan base, because to them, hey, it's easier to do that. But what we're seeing is that just because it seems easier on the surface doesn't mean it's better, and it also doesn't mean that it's going to succeed, because why would anyone want to watch an inferior version of anything else? And with the writers that we have available to us at this present time, there's just no way that this is even going to keep up. And not to mention, like, okay, so we're going to keep throwing in more brunette female archaeologist in her 30s. We already have Lara Croft. I mean, I know they've changed her and transformed her completely beyond recognition. So compared to what we've been getting in the Tomb Raider department, it's like, oh, look, this is like a mature version. But it's like we've already seen a mature Lara Croft way before this reboot existed. Lara in Tomb Raider 1 was in her late 20s. It was like 27 or 28 in Tomb Raider 1 back in 1996. And so, you know, we've seen Lara throughout her timeline. Now, there you can argue that, okay, well, her age didn't continue once the legend soft boot happened and all that. But if that's the case, then we've even seen her in her 40s, which a lot of fans like to make that headcanon, that her age continued, and this all followed since after Angel of Darkness, so on and so forth. So in that kind of situation, we've seen a mature Lara Croft in her up to her 40s. So I don't know, there's so much potential that you have with actual classic Lara in the movie department and video games and stuff like that, obviously, which has just been complete wasted potential with what we've already got. And if you want to see any of my previous videos really dissecting that, because there's always someone in the comments who says, wait, reboot Lara, how is she woke? I don't get it. When really you really just gotta watch my videos where I explain everything, because people who don't see that aren't versed in the history of Tomb Raider and have missed a lot of the interviews and so on and so forth. So feel free to check my video, especially titled Tomb Raider Needs Another Reboot or It Will Fail. That's the one where I really, really unpack everything, and you can see it all there. So yeah, I don't know. We already have the blueprint for this. We already have, classic Lara Croft. That's who we should be seeing as the adventurer, as the female archaeologist, as that, brawn, beauty, and brains at the same time. So when you have that, why do you have to do cheap knockoffs in these kind of situations? And again, not insulting the actors here. I'm talking more about the quality of writing that, we keep seeing in Hollywood in general. So anyway, let's hope that the test screening does not go with an ending like that, because trust me, this isn't going to make anyone happy. Hardly. Maybe some people on Twitter with pastel hair who live in their parents' basement may be happy about this, but who won't actually buy a ticket, as we keep seeing on activist Twitter. Perhaps in that situation, but for the most part, that's just not going to be it. And we're going to need Hollywood to be more creative and to actually deliver better roles. Because this whole cheap table scraps, it's not helping women at all. If anything, it's making people start to cringe whenever they see women in these type of action type franchises, because now it's like, oh, what's their agenda this time? Because they've constantly had an agenda, and they've constantly given us table scraps and crappy subpar stuff, to where now whenever we see something organic with a woman in it as the lead in an action type role, it's in the back of your mind now, where it used to not be, where it's like, oh wait, what are they trying to do now? Is it, what kind of cheap writing are we going to see? What kind of cheap knockoff? What kind of man-hating? This sort of thing. When, in the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s, honestly, way even before that, 70s, 80s, all that, we've had plenty of great action female leads who were awesome and loved by many, 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 the high majority. So that's where we're at. Just stop being cheap. Stop being lame. Stop giving us table scraps and give us real good stuff. Bring Lara Croft back in her actual glory, not any of this whatever crap they've been doing lately, which I don't even have hope for, but anytime soon. But I go on about that all the time. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I will catch you next time, and in the meantime, go boom.